Hello and welcome to episode 112 of the Pixel Street Podcast. This is the podcast where each and every week, me and some fucking nerds, I'm one of the nerds as well, get together and talk about video games. Sorry, I'm turning on my lights right now. I realize it's dark in here. But yeah, I'm one of your hosts, Joel Campos, and this week I am joined with the one and only man who pre-ordered a discless PS5 successfully, Connor Kopp.
That's me. Everybody's searching for him right now. I got the only one Sony made. It's a prototype. It's hot off the press, and as soon as I pre-ordered it, I got to shake the hand of every single executive at Sony, and they said thank you and congratulations. So be mad at me because I have it. I have the PS5. That's it. There's no more.
You referring to it as a prototype reminds me of last week how Xbox sent out those boxes.
Oh yeah.
To people, and it was just like, what was the point of that? Like, so
they were like total
size?
mock-ups.
Yeah, it was just like a shell.
Which, is cool for like sizing comparison and stuff. Like I checked out those videos to see it stacked up against like the Xbox One X that I already have, so I can kind of get an idea of how I'm going to fit things on my desk when I do get the new console. Which, by the way, that S, dude, holy shit,
tiny.
It's absurd. It's so small, man. That was super weird. Like they sent those boxes to like everybody too. Like everybody got those things.
I know,
and it was just dummies.
You would think that they would just like at this point have them made. And they can actually send them to actually and say, hey, this is what you can do with it. You can post pictures of it, compare it to other things, but you cannot talk about how they run. You can't talk about how they play. None of that. Like just embargo.
Somebody would leak that shit so hard though.
Yeah, I know. Exactly, but like they didn't have to send it to fucking everybody and their cousin. Like everybody, and then every headline was like unboxing the Xbox Series X. Like, yo, you're not unboxing it. That's like a fucking brown cardboard box with styrofoam in it. Like that, there's nothing in there. That's not unboxing the thing.
Wildly unexciting. Yeah, I saw the same kind of clickbaity headline, and I was like, wait a second, that's not the console. You've got a dummy. You're a dummy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a dummy, and it doesn't have like any of like the literature you would get with it. Doesn't have the controller, no cables. It's like, yo, that ain't it, fam.
It's just like fucking styrofoam peanuts all over the place.
Yeah. But regardless, we are not here to talk about Xbox. This is going to be a full PlayStation episode.
A little bit of Nintendo sprinkled in.
Yeah, as you know, yesterday we had the PS5 event where we got price, date, pre-order date, a very controversial pre-order date at that. And then we're also going to talk about the Nintendo Direct Mini that happened today, September 17th. So that is what is on the agenda today. Before we get to that, let's get some housekeeping out of the way first. You can go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street. We changed from Pixel Street Pod to Pixel Street because it was available, and it sounds much cooler. And you could follow us on Facebook by searching for Pixel Street Podcast there, where we post our videos, Let's Plays, reviews. Me and John did an Avengers spoiler cast. That was pretty fun. We just had some Let's Plays go up on our YouTube channel as well. Of last Friday, I think it was, we had a Pixel Tales party night where we played Among Us, and man, was that something.
That game is a fucking blast, man. John's editing on those videos is pretty good, too. There's a couple really good moments.
I have not had a time to watch them, but I'll probably do it tomorrow.
Man. He's clowning. He's clowning for sure. It's good. It's a good time.
But yeah, to find out when we do those party nights, follow us on Twitter. We usually post about it there, or join our Discord. You can find the link to that in our Twitter as well by looking at our pinned tweet. We'd love to have you. I post pictures of my dogs every so often. Usually John's in there talking some sort of shit about something everybody loves. So yeah, come hang out. All right, with that being said, Connor, let's get into what we've been playing. I see you only have one game on this list, so I'm just going to talk very, very briefly about how I've been playing Master Chief Collection again on PC, because as you know, Halo 3 ODST is coming this week.
Yes.
Next week.
That's right.
Very exciting. One of the best. Mm-hmm. One of the best Halo games. And the thing is,
nobody
here is going to argue it.
You're absolutely correct. Like
John
there's no
completely
differing
agrees.
opinion. Yeah, it's John's favorite Halo game. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if we've ever told anybody, but it's John's. He has a Halo 3 ODST tattoo on his chest.
he does.
It's
He just
just
doesn't like taking his shirt off on camera.
yeah, and
He's
he's
very
very
shy.
self-conscious about it.
But
Yeah,
regardless, like that's what's controversial about his take on it is that he has it so high. Like me personally, I'd put
Yes.
it like at least like 3, 4, maybe
Yeah.
third, fourth
Yeah,
on the list. But
it's
like
like
what's
upper half.
controversial? Yeah, what's controversial about his take is he has it at number 1.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
that's you can't
like
debate that.
Halo 2 is at the absolute bottom for him. Halo 3 is right above that, and then like his favorite games are like Halo ODST and Halo Reach. And it's weird, man. It's weird.
It is weird, but that game, man, I'm so excited to play it on PC because it has an amazing soundtrack.
It does. Honestly, the vibe and atmosphere of that entire game, it's just fantastic. It's like the whole almost duality of gameplay where you're like creeping through this night city where everything is a super threat, and then you have the like little mini stories that are inserted throughout when you find the different items and stuff. Like it's such a cool concept that was executed so well, and I love ODST. I really do think it's one of the better Halo games in the series. I don't think it's the best, but it's a solid game, man, and I'm excited to see how it plays on PC because I remember that game not aging particularly well, which was a bit of a bummer in comparison to some of the other Halos. Like it felt a little clunky. Um, but man, the thought of being able to go back and play that in like really crisp high definition is incredibly alluring. I'll probably pop back into it. Play some Firefight. Ooh, that's what we should do. We should play some
Yeah,
Firefight.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, me
All
and
right.
you. Definitely not John.
Yeah. Screw that guy.
He loves the game so much he's just going to be playing campaign on repeat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also excited to. That's probably mainly what I'll be doing is playing Firefight. If I'm being completely honest, I
Mhm.
do before Infinite comes out. I'm hoping that Halo 4 will be out on PC as well.
Sure.
I don't think Halo 5 is ever going to come. That would have to be like some sort of surprise announcement because it's not planned right now.
Yeah.
But I do want to play through all the Halo games on PC, and that would include like both Halo Wars games. And if I'm
Sure.
getting crazy, maybe even Halo Spartan Assault. Those two
Oh
games
man.
that I have
That's
very, very briefly played.
yeah. I don't know that it needs playing again, but you could. It's a playable
I
thing.
I think I played like an hour of it maybe. Like and I
Mm.
just was not a fan.
Yeah, I was so wildly disappointed. Speaking of Halo offshoots, have you played the one that's in like Dave and Buster's?
Yes, I played through that whole thing the week it came out.
That thing's sweet, man.
It's really cool. Me and what's it called? Like Fire Team something? Fire Team
Yeah,
Bravo? I don't know.
that sounds about right. I'll see if I can find it.
But when you played it, did you link your gamer tag to it? To the game?
No, I don't think I did because I was miserably drunk at the time.
Yeah, me and my buddy, who I played a lot of Halo 5 with, he was my roommate back in college when it came out. We made a point like when it came out, we're like, all right, we're gonna go there Saturday as soon as they open. And sure as shit, nobody was there except for like 4 of us. We showed up and
Man.
just played through the whole thing. It ended up costing in total, I think it was like $18 a person,
Wow.
which is pretty absurd if you think about it. For
Yeah.
4 people. It was like 15 or 18, but yeah. That game was cool though in Dave and Buster's.
Fire Team Raven is the
Fire
name.
Team Raven. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pull it up on YouTube here for people who are watching.
It's a cool thing, man. It's awesome. I love cool stuff like that, like very non-traditional uh experiences, video game experiences. Um Man, that thing is so sweet.
It was
I
extremely arcadey though. Like it
it
did
for
not
sure.
like it. I don't think it's canon at all. Like in terms of like you're all like you and your fire team, you're all shooting the objective or whatever, and then the Master Chief just shows up with his shotgun. He's like, stand back. It's like so arcade, or the automatic shotguns that you have. You
Oh
remember that
yeah.
part? When your shotgun's like,
Yep.
choo, 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 choo. It's fucking intense, man. But Yeah, those
I
two
just
giant 4K monitors.
Yeah, I just looked up just for funsies. Apparently, yes, it is a canon video game in the Halo universe.
Wow.
So you need to find your nearest Dave and Buster's so that you can go sit and play it ahead of Halo Infinite.
Yeah, and I'll stream all of it.
Yeah, perfect. Just order one off the internet. You can find anything on the internet nowadays. You've got room for it. You just moved
Dude,
into a new place.
yeah, I don't even think this thing would fit. It's probably too tall. I think it was very tall actually.
It's large. It's large.
But yeah, I've been playing Halo Master Chief Collection. Excited for ODST this week. Some Firefight. We should play some Firefight for sure though.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
Oh, my list isn't too long. I've been dabbling a little bit more with Marvel's Avengers, and as I'm getting to the point where I'm like transitioning out of the hand holding phase of the campaign and really getting into where like it's supposed to open up into the loot system and gear and whatnot, I find myself having a worse time with the game than I did originally. Like my opinion has soured just due to how they handle that stuff. Like it doesn't feel like any of the gear that I'm getting is meaningful in any way. I don't know if it's just a weird slump, but I don't know. The game's just gone very stale. My objective in the campaign is effectively to gather a bunch of materials so that I can craft these things and continue on. And it doesn't really give you a good idea on how to get that stuff. It just gives you access to a bunch of the repeatable, I think they call them drop zones and the character missions and things like that. And it's disappointing. It's very disappointing because there's no way to like check your progress in while you're inside of the mission. There are specific enemies it says to hunt down for things, but I don't know what the drop rate looks like or anything, or if I'm even picking anything up. Like, I basically just have to play and hope that I'm getting the things that I need to progress in the story, which is very weird, and I don't like it. So I do wish it would hold my hand a little bit more and kind of guide me through this stuff. Is I'm not trying to just play all of this content, to be honest with you. Like it's just a little too much. And I did try, I will say, I gave a shot to the second iconic character mission for Black Widow, and I was like 12 levels under power, and I was like, oh, this is no big deal. It goes up to like 150 or something. We'll just give it a shot. And I jumped in and got my ass handed to me. I was getting one shot by drones and stuff, man. It was miserable. So yeah, I'm dabbling in there. I will say now that I've played more Black Widow, it is a more enjoyable experience. As I think her upgrade and combo path is way better than any of the other characters. But even so, man, this game is it's got a lot of problems. There's a lot of things that need to be tweaked and adjusted in it. For as much as I find in the game that I like, there's probably three more things that I don't. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It just feels like all the armor you're getting doesn't matter. Like it's just like
Yeah,
all right, like it could be a completely different, like could have different specs entirely, but be like a higher light level or not. Destiny is light, but you know what I mean. Higher armor level, I guess.
right.
I don't know what they call it in Avengers, but it
It's
just
like
feels like
power.
yeah, it just feels like everything's the same. It's like okay, this one's higher than that one. Equip it.
Yeah, it really doesn't give any kind of proper explanation as to what any of those stats mean either. Like one of the four core stats, you have melee, ranged, defense, and heroic. Which melee, range, defense. Okay, sure enough, I've got a general idea of what that stuff is doing for me, but it doesn't specifically and explicitly state like what stats it's impacting or what impacts those stats. But the heroic one, I couldn't even. I've probably got 10 to 15 hours in this game. I couldn't even guess what the hell heroic means in any way, shape, or form
I
in
would
that
guess
game.
it has something to do with your abilities. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I know there's like a critical hit stat in the game as well that's super important with Black Widow. But again, like the tutorials and that type of information is so buried that it's difficult to even know for sure. Like everybody that I've talked to that I've asked about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just go for the highest number."
Yeah,
Thanks, I guess.
that's pretty much it. And like, it just doesn't seem like there's enough varied missions and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's just all too samey. It's just very
It's a
very
lot of
repetitive.
recycled content. Yeah, yeah. Like they'll take parts of bigger missions and make them like they'll chop up parts of it, and that's a
Yeah.
small mission, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
which
It's like
doesn't
you
feel
could
good.
you could go through one long mission and then get to the end and you go in this very specific room for a boss. And then right after that you're like, "Okay, let's go do this mission." You get there and it's literally just the end of that mission with a
Yeah,
different boss.
it's the boss room. Yeah, yeah, yep. It's weird. I respect it, but at the same time, again, I mean, it's a game that I've said it before. It's buried under mountains of shit, which is so unfortunate because there is a cool core gameplay loop there,
Oh
like
yeah.
actually being able to be a hero and fight enemies and stuff. Like that's cool. The rest of it sucks. So
Yeah, I think that this game could have used 6 months to a year to cook, I guess, like for them,
yes,
because like the game is, yeah, it's done, but it's done very poorly right now. Like
yeah.
graphically, the game's fine. Gameplay wise, the game's fine, but content wise, they could have used 6 to 8 months maybe just
It
to
seems
really flesh it
wildly
out.
unfocused too. Like it doesn't have a like I couldn't look at this game and tell you exactly what this game's supposed to be. Like playing it, I feel like it's four different genres all meshed into one, and it does none of them particularly well. Uh, it's got the action adventure, it's got the loot system, it's got the always online like MMO style stuff, and it just yeah, it's a bummer, man. I'm gonna play more Blackwood. I want to beat this campaign. After this campaign's done, though, man, I don't think I'd touch this game anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I do either, to be honest. Because I beat the campaign, the end game just isn't doing it for me.
Yeah,
Like I haven't played it in the past week, so there you go.
yeah,
I guess maybe I'm done with the game. I don't know. They'd have to announce something big for me to come back. Maybe I'll come back for the DLC, but it's going to be hard for me to justify paying for a DLC when I'm, not into the game anymore.
right. I really feel like the only reason I've even put this much time into this game is strictly because I love uh, the Marvel property.
Yeah.
If this was anything else, I would I would never even give this game a second thought.
That's
You know?
exactly how I feel. Like that's the reason I bought the game. Like I had
Yeah.
no interest in it until like 2 days before everybody was getting excited for the game. The hype was building for the game. I saw like people talking about how the story was good. So I was like, "All right, fuck it. I like Avengers. I'll buy the game, play the story, and then if I fall off like I kind of already have, I you know, I don't feel too butthurt that I spent $60 on it because I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the story for the most part."
Yeah. No, I agree. Like most of the story has been great so far. It's like I said, it's just the rest of it, which obviously I suppose is the fixable part of the game. Like if it launched with a broken ass story and it just sucked, then we'd probably be having some different conversations. But for the most part, it's all things that can be patched and or adjusted or tweaked over time or whatever. So certainly going to be one we check back in on. Probably for far too long, far longer than the game deserves.
Yeah, yeah, for real. But moving on, I guess, to a good game. I've been
Yes.
playing Super Mario Odyssey. I started playing it the other night. I was
Ooh.
watching the Sox game. Yeah, that game is fun. All right, I just clicked on a video. It's the full game. You could play it in 3 hours. Is that right?
For Odyssey,
Yeah, it's a
you
full
could
game walkthrough.
probably, yeah, you could probably blitz through it in about that time. But like you're gonna miss out on so much.
Oh
That would be
yeah.
like hardcore, just mainlining the
Oh
whole
yeah. This
thing.
dude's like doing like crazy jumps and shit. This is like a
Yeah.
speed run. But yeah, I started playing it again. I picked up where I left off, which is like the first world. I
Mm.
was like still in that desert world where it like froze
Sure.
over.
Yeah. Which is definitely the weakest world in the entire game.
Yeah, and I've advanced on. I beat the jungle world. That's where I
Okay.
ended, or the wooded area. Now I'm moving on. But yeah, I don't know why I haven't played this game yet. I know I told you guys that like my girlfriend took it over when I got it. But Yeah, hopefully I can track down a copy of Mario 3D. Was it Mario 3D All
All
Stars?
Stars. Yeah.
Because like my pre-order got delayed till Tuesday,
Mm.
and now me and my girlfriend are excited for her to be playing that while I'm playing this on our couch all
Oh
weekend
yeah.
because she's never played any of those three games, and Mario is like the game that she'll play.
Oh sure.
But
So did she play Odyssey then?
yeah, she played through the entire thing
Oh,
to
she's
the
gonna
point to where
love
like,
those All Stars
oh,
games,
I
man.
know, and I know she will because like I've tried. Like I was like, hey, you want me to set up the GameCube so you can play Sunshine because I own it because I got it with the like the deal I got from somebody.
Yeah.
And she's just like,
He
no,
stole
I
it.
don't
It's
think I
fine.
can. She just loves the Switch, so now that those
Yeah,
games are on
yeah.
the Switch, she'll actually play them.
Well, and also too, like if you didn't, if you weren't a gamer at that time, that GameCube controller is intimidating as fuck.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
it's a scary ass controller. It's like handing somebody the N64 controller and saying, "Here, use this." You
Here,
know, like,
figure it out.
yeah, it's miserable. No, I'm excited that you're playing Odyssey for the first time. I love Odyssey. That game is like, honestly, for me, it's the number two game on the Switch behind Breath of the Wild. Don't say it. We'll talk about it later. Um, and yeah, it's just so good, man. It's so well done. Like the character costumes are a pleasant, large chunk of the game, and the other cool thing is the replayability on it. Like after you beat the game, you can go back to each world and it opens up hundreds of more moons in the game that aren't there while you're playing the main game. So it's all
Okay,
kinds of new things to do. And then
that's
after
kind of. It's,
that,
I was gonna
yeah,
say,
after that, you actually continue and you unlock more story content once you beat the game as well. Like you actually go to the moon, and then if you collect enough moons, you can go to the dark side of the moon, which is like this whole different level. And then there's the darker side of the moon, which is like a super hard area. And it's like, yeah, it just continues to evolve, and it's such a cool experience front to back. I love that game so much.
yeah, I was gonna ask about that because I've seen screenshots and stuff like of people with like 900 moons and stuff like that,
Yes.
and I was gonna say like I haven't been finding that many moons in these worlds, and I don't think there's that many worlds.
There's quite a few. You'd be surprised in that game. They really stretch it out for quite some time, and you also like revisit some areas later on too, with like different objectives and whatnot. So, yeah, it's got a lot going on with it. I think my favorite things about it, just like Mario 64, is like it has a bunch of there's so many different moves and things that you can pull off in that game. The skill ceiling for it is incredibly high, which is such an odd thing to think about with a Mario game. But like if you get really good, you can infinite air travel, which is like you jump up, go for the ground dive or whatever, throw your hat, and then you actually bounce off your hat, and then you just repeat the whole process, and you can like infinitely fly around levels and stuff. It's really hard to pull off, but it's just little stuff like that that makes Odyssey so cool, and it also does the thing with moons that Breath of the Wild does with Koroks, which is common sense just works. Like if you see something and you're like, oh, I bet if I do something here, I'm gonna get something for this. Like it's gonna pay off. It's gonna give me something. And if you do it, like yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get something. Like in this, for instance, there's a jump rope challenge. There's no prompt or anything, but if you go just start jump roping, if you do enough of them, you start to win moons. Or if you throw your hat on a fire hydrant or something, like it's gonna spit out a bunch of coins. It's that type of like rewarding curiosity that I think makes it such a phenomenal game. As well as it's Mario, man. It's so good. You know.
Yeah, I for me one of the weak points of the game is all the motion controls because
Sure.
like there are a lot of moves that you can only do with the motion controls, which for me is annoying. Like because I've been playing with my Fixture S1, the
Hmm.
previously known as Switch Fix, with my Pro controller, and it's just like if I want to do the thing where you throw the hat in a circle around you, I gotta like move the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like
So you can
screen
do that
included.
without moving the controller. Actually, you spin the left thumbstick, so Mario starts spinning, and then you throw the hat out, continue spinning the left stick, and it still does the same move. I have the same exact issue that you did with it, because I hate motion controls, like, period. I don't care what it is, unless it's VR. Like, I cannot stand any type of motion control. I just think it's cheap, it's gimmicky, it's silly, and I'm just not into it at all. So when I was playing Odyssey, I was like, man, a lot of these moves are just frustrating to try and pull off. And then I got a Switch Lite a little bit later on, and I was like, well, a lot of these moves I can't do now because
Hmm.
I'm stuck in handheld. But then I started messing around with it, and I found out that a lot of it you can actually still do. There just might be a tougher way to do it with the
Yeah,
controllers.
because like the one thing I noticed is that in the menu, because I was looking in the menu to figure out how to do some of these moves, because like that's something that I knew how to do when I played it for a few hours before, like an hour before, but I couldn't
Right.
remember how to do it. And I looked in the menu and it doesn't tell you anywhere that you could do it without motion controls. So that's why like
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. Like that's I don't know. They should make that more clear, I guess.
Yeah, I think I
I'm not
stumbled
sure.
upon it when I figured it out. So, but I agree. There is a little bit of lack of clarity around some of those move sets and stuff that I'm not into, which is a bit of a bummer, especially when you get into some of like the characters too that you can possess and take control of. Like, some of them have motion control at least available, and those get a little frustrating too at some points, which again just makes my case for deleting motion controls from the face of the universe. I'm over it, man. I don't want it anymore. But yeah, no, that
Yeah.
that game's real good. I'm glad you're playing it. Uh,
Yeah, I'm glad I'm playing it too. I think next up for me, whenever I eventually get 3D All Stars back, that might be a few years at this rate. But I think next up I want to play that Zelda game that I got. What's the most recent one? The
Link's
Link's
Awakening.
Awakening. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
have that, and I haven't played it yet.
man, I watched my wife play through that whole thing, and she loved it. Oh my god, it's gorgeous too. It's a very nice remake.
Yeah, I was a fan of what is it? A Link to the Past.
Sure.
That 3DS one. RIP 3DS. I guess we could talk about that in the news.
Oh yeah, yep.
Well, let's just get into the news then right now.
Let's do it. Yeah,
I guess for starters, we'll talk about what everybody wants to hear us talk about, and that's the PS5 news.
yeah, yeah.
So there was an event yesterday. It was at 1 p.m. Pacific time, September 16th. Yeah, 16th. I guess, should we just go down the list of everything and just kind of talk about it however we
Yeah, we
want?
can just kind of rapid fire through this. There was quite a few different announcements that they had leading up to any kind of PlayStation 5 related stuff. Just announcements of new games and stuff. So I guess we can trade on and off here and just go down the list. So first and foremost, Final Fantasy 16. It's a thing. Are you a Final Fantasy guy?
I am. I love Final Fantasy.
Yeah? Oh, me too, man. I loved
Yeah.
15. I thought 15
So
was
did I.
fantastic.
I
You know?
loved 15, but was it like chapter 13 that everybody hated? I fucking hated it as
Yes.
well.
Oh yeah, that was bad. that
But
that
they've
wasn't
patched
good.
it out now, right? They added other
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah, they
to change it.
they made some changes to it, as well as allowed you to play as other characters during that period and do other things instead of playing that Noctis chapter. Because yeah, it's brutal, it's rough.
Yeah,
This one
I
seems to be
played.
relatively. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I played through 15 like that whole first week, and then I haven't gone back.
Yeah,
So
15 did a
I
lot of
haven't
cool
seen any of the
crossover
updates.
stuff too. Did you play the Cup Noodle quest?
Cup noodle. Yeah, I think so.
Oh man, where
Those
you get
posters
to
were
hunt and make
everywhere.
your own. Yes, just ridiculous product placement. It was awesome. This game seems to be taking a bit of a turn. This one is set in more of a medieval fantasy type setting, which honestly I'm totally on board for. And it seems to be a little bit more dark, a little more grim. So excited to see what comes out of this. I guess the notable thing about this is that Yoshida, who is well known for turning around Final Fantasy XIV, the online game, and redeeming that game after its disastrous launch, he's the one that's heading up Final Fantasy 16. So it's some prime talent that's on board with this project, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Worth noting, it is a PlayStation console exclusive, and it will be coming to PC as well.
Square Enix
Um,
backtracked on that a little bit. As somebody
yeah,
reached out to them for confirmation, and they didn't confirm nor deny. So my guess is it's definitely coming to PC. Obviously, 15 came to PC after its long while on console. So I would imagine so, but they're being weird about it, which we'll talk about weirdness with that kind of stuff in a second too.
Moving on, they showed some gameplay from Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it looks fucking awesome.
It
Like
does.
the way that trap music came in when he started fighting all the goons on the bridge.
Yep.
Man, that was awesome. I'm very excited for this.
Me too, man. I hope that they do him justice and it's a quality lengthy game. Like
Yeah.
this is obviously not a full standalone. Like this is intended to kind of be a 1.5, is what they've suggested for the Spider-Man franchise. But man, them showing the stuff they showed in this game looks so badass, man. And if it's anything like the first Spider-Man, fuck, sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah, I think the one thing that worries me is that this is going to be like a 3-hour thing, like
Yeah.
story wise, and then it's just going to be like another 5 hours of like side mission filler.
Mindlessly
But
swinging around the city. Yeah.
yeah. Go collect all these things. Go.
Here's some more backpacks to find.
Yeah, backpacks. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have to beat the DLC for Spider-Man. I beat one of them. I think there's 2 more I haven't played.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks amazing. I'm very excited for it. If I get a PS5, this will be what I will be playing.
Worth noting that it's coming to PS4 as well. That's something that
Yeah.
we didn't have clarification on directly at first, but it will be launching on PS4 as well
Which
for
is
the system.
It's interesting because PlayStation said a while ago, like, oh, we're not doing any, cross-platform stuff, like cross-generational stuff, like months ago. And then now
Yeah.
we're finding out all these games are cross-generation.
Well, and you saw
really-
Phil Spencer get out there and make that type of comment towards the beginning of the year, where he said
Yeah.
that there would be no true exclusives for a year on, and they got fucking flamed for it, man.
Exactly.
Like,
And now PlayStation is doing the same thing, and
Yeah.
nobody's batting an eye. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. It's a strange
Double standard.
situation. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely a double standard. So
Yeah, but I mean, to
next
be
up-
fair, it could have been. Sorry, last comment on that.
You're good.
situation. It would have been the same if the roles were reversed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If PlayStation said that, then everybody'd be mad at PlayStation. I don't know.
it's just fanboys being fanboys. Console wars are dumb anyway. So next on the list here, they finally. You may remember the leaked footage from a couple years ago, but they finally revealed and fully announced the Harry Potter video game. So it's called Hogwarts Legacy. It's a full-blown RPG, and it's set in the 1800s. So they're throwing it back a little bit, and it's going to be launching on the PS5 in 2021. So sometime next year for that. I am not a Harry Potter fan by any means. My wife is a huge Harry Potter fan. And she said, "Wow, that looks cool." And I said, "I'm going to say that on the podcast because I've got nothing else to add."
Yeah, like I'm a Harry Potter fan in the sense that like I've seen all the movies. I've read some of the books when I was younger. I haven't read them all. But yeah, this game, I think it looks really good. It's surprising that leak from so long ago was actually real. Like we all assumed it was real, but like
That was like 2 years ago.
that's what I'm saying. Like how is
Yeah.
this the same I'm like it has me thinking that this game's going to come out sooner rather than later in 2021.
Yeah, I think the speculation right now is like summer 2021. So not terribly far away. Because it looks, yeah, I mean, it looked pretty complete back then when we saw that teaser trailer. Or that leak rather. And for this looks like a pretty well put together project. I will say they have got out and said that J.K. Rowling is not involved in this project in any way, shape, or form, which is probably for the best, considering all the negative press she's generated recently. So
The problem with that is I was going to comment on that too. There's still backlash on Twitter because no matter what you do, you're still supporting her. You know what I mean? Like
right,
this is
yeah,
essentially her IP. So she's still getting
Yeah.
a cut regardless of whether she's associated with it or not.
all I can tell you, man, is I would not want to be the people releasing a Harry Potter game right now.
Oh, I know. I completely agree. But yeah, the game looks cool. It looks pretty far along. Hoping that it comes out sooner rather than later. I will definitely be playing it. I don't think this is exclusive, right? This is.
Um,
I don't think it didn't have anything after saying it was.
I
So.
will look more on that while we move to the next one.
All right. So next up, we had some Call of Duty Black Ops campaign gameplay. It looked cool. I mean, I don't think I'll be buying this next Call of Duty game at launch. Maybe somewhere down the line when it's on sale for, $30-$40 just so I can play the campaign. But this campaign looks really cool. It's kind of just a mission where you're stalking, I guess, in some. Okay, here, Turkey. You're in Turkey at an airfield. And you see some shit go down, and then you start chasing the airplane. It looks really cool. Very Mission Impossible-esque. For sure.
We're Fast and Furious. Yeah. Like very bombastic action sequences. I will say it is very clearly. I know there was a bit of a question around it, but it is very clearly leaning on the Modern Warfare engine, which is something that they didn't quite talk about for a little while, and that's good to know because I think Modern Warfare is amazing. I think Modern Warfare, love it or hate it, like it is such an incredibly well built video game in terms of engine and assets and everything. Like they would be dumb not to use that engine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, why would they not say that like first thing? Because I think the engine for Modern Warfare is great. Like,
yeah,
that's what made that game for me is just how everything looked and sounded.
Yeah, I totally agree. This seems to we probably say this about every Black Ops, to be honest, but this seems to be a very, very dark game. Like the melee kills that were showcased in this, or just some of the up close killing in general, was very brutal. You saw him shove a knife through a guy's throat and then put a gun to his forehead and pull the trigger. You saw him grab somebody and use them as a human body shield. And like a little health bar popped up. Yeah, it is a very brutal game, which obviously Modern Warfare was, but it seems like Black Ops is really trying to up that level, which I don't know how I feel about. Like it seems like it's almost gotten to the point of like doing it just for doing its sake, rather than hey, this is a war game, you know?
Yeah. It seems like it's going more the Rambo route than it is like an actual war game.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. The other notable thing here is that they announced that there is a open alpha. They're not even calling it a beta, even though this game comes out in like a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah.
It's an alpha for PlayStation players only that is free. You just jump on, you play it, you give it a shot. That starts same day this podcast is live, which is the 18th. Of September. It goes throughout the weekend. I don't think it's significantly long. So, yeah.
When does this game launch?
November 13th.
Oh, okay. I thought it was an October game.
Call of Duty traditionally is, but no, it's November.
Yeah, November 13th. I see that now. But yeah, I mean, this gameplay trailer looked really good. I love the Call of Duty campaigns, especially like Modern Warfare. I thought it was a really good one. But yeah, I'm excited to see how people like this game. I don't think
it'd be cool to have Woods and Mason back too. Like one of the reasons I love the Black Ops games was specifically the characters that were involved. You know.
Yeah, it seems like they're taking that approach with a lot of the games, like bringing back Captain Price in the last one, right?
Yeah. It's a tired franchise, man. They got to do something. So
yeah, they're kind of at the point where they're just rebooting everything and going to space.
Yes. Oh my God, that you just reminded me. The next Fast and Furious is going to space. So
yeah,
just great. Yeah. So the next one up on this list is one that I did not expect to see at this event at all. It's Resident Evil Village. So it's not Resident Evil 8. They've been clear on that. It's more of a 7.1 is what I think they've called it. But this game does not look like a Resident Evil game. In my mind, like when I watch this trailer, like this is very, it's folk talesy. It seems to be set on a small village in a mountainside. and it's based around some like urban legends and myths and stuff in the area. Um, yeah, it should be interesting. I'm not much of a Resident Evil guy, but it almost has a fantastical like mythical setting, which is something that we haven't seen done with the Resident Evil formula, which should be pretty cool. But again, I'm not a big Resident Evil guy, so it doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, kind of the same for me. I'm a big pussy when it comes to scary stuff. So, like, I tried playing Resident Evil 7 in VR. Like, I still have it.
You're
but
nuts.
man, I think that was like the most views I had on Twitch at one time. Because I was fucking terrified.
Everybody
like,
wanted
legitimately
to watch you scream.
scared. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, cool. Wasn't this supposed to come out in August?
No, that's a good question. I did confirm, by the way, Hogwarts Legacy will be multi-platform for that.
Okay, that's good to know. Let's see, Resident Evil 7, or well, I guess it'd be III.
Yeah, everybody's calling it 8, even though it's not.
Because I remember Wario64 tweeted, he tweeted a picture on August 30th saying, well, I guess Resident Evil's out today. Because it was like the art that they put out there.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that.
Out.
Yeah, there was some key art or something that had August on it.
And they just never like corrected it. Like, came out and said anything about it. So, but everybody knew it wasn't coming out that day because like they hadn't talked about it at all. Moving on, we got some Deathloop gameplay. This game looks really cool.
It does.
Like,
yeah,
it looks extremely unique, and I love the art style. I love the vibe of everything, the music. It just seems really cool. I don't know too much about it other than it's a death loop, essentially.
Yeah, it's very zany.
You have 8 targets, right?
Yeah, basically the premise is you have 8 targets on an island, and you're trying to get as many of them killed as quickly as possible before your loop restarts. And I would assume the win state for the game is killing all of them in some fashion. And they kind of showed how you might be able to group some of the targets up with this trailer, and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone during the gameplay, which is cool. Yeah, it's very zany. It's got a Dishonored DNA vibe to it. It's almost reminds me of BioShock in a way, like BioShock Infinite, sort of, with its art style and whatnot. And yeah, it seems pretty cool. It did get delayed. It was supposed to be out by the end of this year, but it's now Q2 of 2021. So, be one to keep an eye on. Firing through this one real quick, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition was announced. Not really clear what's different with this one, but after digging into it, sounds like there's some kind of fast-paced turbo mode, a playable Virgil, and a new difficulty called Legendary Dark Knight mode. So if you're a Devil May Cry fan, then there's some new content for you.
Yeah, that's for John. This next one's also for John. Oddsworld Soulstorm gameplay. We got the gameplay. So I'm not a big Oddworld guy. Are you?
No, the last Oddworld game that I had any affinity for whatsoever was Stranger's Wrath. So
it just, I don't know. It seems weird to me. I don't. Is it essentially a platformer? Like, what is the genre?
These ones are. Yeah. They're kind of 2D platformer horde style games.
Yeah, it's not something I can get too into. I'm
not
a big fan of
the style. They spent a lot of time on it too.
Oh, I could tell. Like, these cutscenes look very intense.
Yeah. Next up from there, new Five Nights game. Yay! You can hear all the clapping because people are excited. Yeah, it's just a new Five Nights game. Security breach takes place at a new location called Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizza Plex. Say that 5 times fast. And yeah, it's just, it's coming out on PS5. Not much else to say there.
What is I get the premise is like they're animatronic.
Yeah, it's a haunted Chuck E. Cheese. That's basically it.
Okay, and so what is your objective? I don't understand. I watched a Twitch stream of it one time, and all I saw was like them switching back and forth between like cameras in the building.
Yeah, from my understanding, the original game, you were a security guard that was hired. to kind of protect the place overnight, and the animatronics and whatnot started coming to life, and you got locked in there, and like you're trying to find your way out, and all this other stuff. So it's very much a scary game. Like that's its place.
Okay.
Bendy and the Ink Machine, very similar kind of thing.
I just don't get how this game has so much like merch and shit in Target.
Children.
Like they love this scary game. Like,
Yes. Oh my god.
I don't get it.
When it came out, it was very like kind of. It wasn't necessarily meant for kids, but it was kid friendly, and streamers and stuff picked it up, and it just caught on, and they loved it. And it's a thing. It's like Roblox, you know.
Interesting. Moving on, we have the Demon Souls extended gameplay reveal. So they showed this gameplay, and I messaged you guys. It's like, this game looks extremely easy, and like because the parts they were showing, like it was just like the guy, he would roll, and then come out of the roll and just like hit a guy one time and he's dead.
Yeah,
and
he was just
kept,
one
like,
hitting. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially what he kept doing. So that was surprising to me because I played like half an hour of Dark Souls 2 or 3, and that game whooped my ass, and I never went back.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not a
never went
Souls
back.
guy either. Like it also doesn't really cater to me. I know a lot of people love their Demon Souls, as that's what kind of launched the genre. But which if you're into it, it looks gorgeous. I mean, that's one thing that I can say on it, is that the graphics are fantastic. The enemy animations and everything are real solid. But yeah, it's a Souls game. You know, like not much more to say there. Just like the next one, like they showed Fortnite gameplay on the PS5.
Looks no different.
It's fucking Fortnite, man. There's a bus, there's people, there's trees, and it's fucking Fortnite.
And you
there
can
really
pay
isn't.
$50 for a bunch of skins.
Yeah, you could pay a hell of a lot more than that, Joel.
Oh, I know. You can pay $50 for
So
2 skins.
yeah. Oh my god, fucking crazy stuff, man. So yeah, if Fortnite's your thing, it's confirmed coming to the next generation. I don't know that anybody had any doubt in their mind that it was coming to next gen, but if you did, it's confirmed. So
Yeah,
um,
like why would they not be there day one? Like that's
yeah, arguably the biggest video game of all time.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
we're not sure if we're going to launch on the next generation platforms. Stupid.
Yeah.
This
But
one's kind of interesting.
yeah,
Uh,
so Sony announced the PS5 or PlayStation Plus collection, which
yeah,
essentially gives you access to a bunch of games at no additional cost to your PlayStation Plus subscription on PS5.
it
Now
really
that
seems like they're dipping their toes in a Game Pass style subscription.
Yeah, they're trying to feel like they're gonna see how many people download these games probably,
Definitely.
and probably
Yeah.
go from there to see if it's feasible for them to, up the PlayStation Plus cost every month or something like that to get
Yeah.
people in.
It is a
But
pretty hefty list. I mean, looking through it, God of War, Bloodborne, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat X, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, Last Guardian, Last of Us, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7. So, like, it's a lot of big. In fact, most of these, I think, are their PlayStation hits titles, the ones that come with the red cases. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
That they've been re-releasing, I suppose, recently. So, um, good stuff, but it's a little weird. You know, like it's not quite a subscription, like you said. It's just added to PlayStation Plus, no additional cost. So yeah, they've got to be just data gathering at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and most of those games are older games. So I don't think it's fair to compare it to Game Pass at all.
It's not, yeah.
Because Game Pass will have like a brand new indie game come there day and date, straight to Game Pass. But I mean, we'll see what this brings in the future, I guess. All right, we're on to the biggest.
The good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the two big things that came out of this event.
We got consoles, man. There's
We do.
fucking new systems just around the corner.
You want to talk about this, or should we end
Yeah,
the show?
sure. I'll be the PlayStation guy. Yeah, so Two new consoles. We obviously knew that they had two different platforms. There's the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Digital, which is the exact same hardware. It just lacks an actual physical disc drive on board for it. So there was a lot of speculation on prices and stuff, and wondering where these two consoles were going to fall, especially with Xbox's news of the Xbox Series X at 500 and the Series S at 300, which obviously is not the same hardware in that case. It's just significantly cheaper, and it also does lack a disk drive. For these, they waited till the absolute last possible second in this fucking stream, man, to put this information out there. And it is here, $500, so $499.99 for the regular PlayStation 5, and $399.99 for the digital version. So $100 discount if you want to get rid of that disc drive and you don't care about it. You're just going to go digital anyway. You can save a little bit of money there. Some cool stuff to note that kind of came out after this is that the digital edition will have far less units available than the regular edition. So they really want you to buy that $500 console. That's the one they're propping up as like their main console, which honestly I don't know if that's the play. When you're talking about the same level of hardware being available for $100 cheaper than what Xbox has. I really think that $400 would be a great focus for them. But either way, great stuff. Release dates are a little wonky. November 12th, if you're in the main territories. So that is the US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea. And everywhere else will receive the system on November 19th. So 2 days after the launch of the Xbox systems, we are getting the new PlayStation systems, which is going to make that week pretty interesting for people like me. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time. Really, I don't think that this was outside of people's expectations. I think this kind of fell right in what people expected out of Sony. I do wonder if maybe they wanted to launch a little bit higher, and Xbox kind of forced their hands to be a little bit lower for these systems. But this to me is $400 for a next gen top of the line console, and all you're ditching is a physical drive. Like, that's a steal, man.
Which is
I was thinking about it, and if you offered an Xbox the same thing, like that level of hardware with no disk drive for $100 cheaper, I'd buy that for sure instead.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that this is like you said, the digital one's $400. Even for the physical one, $500. The PS3 launched at $600 like 14 years ago.
Yep.
Like, which is insane to me. Like,
it really is.
And that's kind of why Xbox won that generation, is because the price point was far steeper to buy a PS3 than a Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's, having this like budget system available is so interesting, and I think it really points to this generation being one that breaks the norm. Like, we have not had a generation where the two main systems that launch side by side have a cheaper digital only option that is for all intents and purposes potentially more easily available. This is going to shake up physical media in a way that I don't think it's been threatened before. I was talking to somebody the other day that maybe physical media starts becoming like special editions, and the standard from then on forward is just the digital, because with these types of price points, digital has become a clean, clear, viable option for your first choice, not a second choice or a third choice. Like, I pre-ordered the PlayStation 5 digital because for me, like, it's not my main console, and it's just a no-brainer. Save the $100. Don't bother with the physical media. Like, you and I were talking about this a little bit before. You have some VR games and stuff that you would like to be able to play, and for you, it makes total sense. But for a casual audience, this $400 is a fucking steal, man. It's a really, really good deal for what you're getting.
Yeah, I've been kind of going back and forth in my head with the VR stuff, because like, I don't necessarily plan on getting rid of my PS4 Pro. So I could always just use that as my VR machine, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that, the PS5 is going to necessarily upgrade those games any more than a PS4 Pro could do. It might make load times faster and stuff like that, but
Yeah, I
I don't
do
know.
wish in this conference they got a little more into the weeds with how backwards
Yeah,
compatibility works. I did read something, a statement from one of the Sony execs that came out a few hours ago that said 99% of PS4 games will be backwards compatible, but that still leaves a lot of questions. Like, are they just going to be strictly backwards compatible? Will there be restrictions? Like, do I have to play with it PS5 controller? Like, how does this work necessarily? Um, and it's a little unfortunate to not have that information. But speaking of information that would have been great, actually, before we get into that, I do want to make mention that they did tease that there is a God of War sequel in the works, which God of War was 2018 Game of the Year for me. Just fucking
same.
phenomenal. And they did confirm that they're working on something new and that it's due for release in 2021. So very excited to see that. And that honestly pushed me over the edge to make my PlayStation pre-order, as I was just going to hold off for the time being. Um, but like I was saying, information that was missing from this was pre-orders. Nowhere in this entire presentation were pre-orders talked about. There was no kind of like link or anything, uh, you know, offering information. They didn't post much online immediately after the conference, so it left everybody kind of questioning what is the pre-order situation with this. In order to catch anybody up to speed that's not familiar, Xbox announced that their pre-orders will start on September 22nd. So they gave a hard date for it that's happening. Sony put an email out to people that allowed you to sign up to be one of the first to have a chance to pre-order the PlayStation 5. This was a couple weeks ago or so. Their last PlayStation, what do they call these? State of Play? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
So their last State of Play event, they said, "Don't worry," literally verbatim. "Don't worry, we'll give you plenty of notice for when PlayStation 5 pre-orders go live, or when they will be going live and be available, so that you have a chance to get in on it." And that didn't happen. It was a whole fucking thing. So why don't you break that down a little bit, and then I'll give my perspective of it on the retail side.
So basically, they said pre-orders would be going live the following day, and that wasn't part of the event at all. That was all like, yeah, you know what? Let's give this information to Jeff Keighley and let him tweet this fucking stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, I don't understand what they're thinking. And then finally, it's eventually confirmed. Like 20 minutes later, yep, tomorrow's pre-order date. So everybody's like, all right, chill out, we're all good. And then out of the blue, Walmart just like pre-orders are live, and I see Wario64 tweet it. So many people pre-ordered from Walmart. They're all gonna be so mad when their orders get canceled like 3 weeks before this thing releases, because the number of times I've tried pre-ordering like a new console, like the PSVR, anything like that from Walmart, they're always just getting canceled. Like I'd say
Always.
almost half of the tweets I see about it are like, "Oh fuck, my order got canceled." So yeah, Walmart decided to go live. And then up next was GameStop. Apparently, you could just go into GameStop and pre-order. Shortly after the Walmart fiasco, I'd say within a half hour probably.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was like 5 o'clock that I think that Walmart had 5 o'clock Eastern, that Walmart had just thrown up pre-orders. I actually, so I refresher for anybody. I run a GameStop, and I got a text from my boss around like 5:30, 6 o'clock saying that pre-orders are live. That was the whole text. That was it. And we weren't given a date ahead of time. Like, we didn't even find out from the company that they were going to be pre-orderable on Thursday. They just, I found this information out from Jeff Keighley of all people.
yeah,
And that was the expectation, is we were going to go live then. So we were scrambling to get things figured out, and then they just went live out of nowhere, out of the blue. And like, it was a mad dash scramble to figure out what the hell was going on, find a place to pre-order it. The allocations are like abysmally low. Most GameStops are looking at like anywhere from 10 to 20 disc versions and 2 to 8 digital versions. So it's not a large number by any means for a next gen console. And PlayStation just Like they didn't even say anything about it. They just kind of let it happen, and it happened, and here we are. Some few hours later, where people are pissed. They're not happy about this entire situation, and yeah. How long did it take you to get through? Because you were able to secure one on Amazon. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I was up on, so I could have pre-ordered as they were going live on like Target, or at least I could have tried. I just didn't really try Target
Right.
or what was the other one? Best Buy. So Best Buy came up. I was like, all right, I trust Best Buy will have it, because like there's a lot of speculation like, will I get it day one? Stuff like that. Best Buy has the option where you have it sent to the store to pick up day one. So I
Yeah.
feel like that was probably the most reasonable option to make sure I get it the first day, because I couldn't go to my GameStop and pre-order. So I was on Best Buy's site the minute that Wario64 tweeted they were live there. And then I was on that site for 2.5 hours. And I had the fucking PlayStation in my cart and just kept like hitting, proceed to checkout. And it kept saying, oh, sorry, our website's having errors right now. It kept saying that. And then eventually it was like, yeah, we're sold out. I was like, who the
Wow.
fuck, who got this? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've been sitting here. I'm looking on Twitter. Everybody's having the same issue I'm having, except for like a few people. It's like, oh, I got through on Best Buy. And then what happened is I joined the PlayStation subreddit. They have a Discord group, so I joined there to see what people were saying. And then somebody's like, "Hey, I found a link for Amazon, but it won't let me post it in here." So I DM the dude, and he sends me the link, and it was like very sketchy. So like I clicked the link, and it didn't take me to the product page. It just took me to a page that said like PlayStation 5, the digital edition, that said PlayStation 5, the disc edition. It had the correct prices, and then it just had a button that said continue. And I was very skeptical at first. I was like, fuck it, I'll hit continue, see what happens. When you hit continue, it added both of them to your cart. So in doing that, I just removed the one I didn't want, which at the time I thought was the disc version. So now I have the discless version pre-ordered. And then not even 5 minutes after that happened, like I messaged you, I was like, yo, thanks, like got one in. Not even 5 minutes after that, Wario64 had tweeted it, and then everybody was going to pre-order them.
Oh man.
So I don't know where this guy found this link to add those two things to your cart, but he found it. So I was able to get one in.
It's just such an absurd situation. Like the biggest thing of 2020, and Sony just botches it in this way. Like less than 24-hour notice on pre-orders, and then Walmart decides to just make everything far worse. It's just such an insane situation, and it's frustrating. It's wildly frustrating. I really want to know what those conversations looked like to make a decision like this, because boy was it not the right one.
Yeah, and like we put a Twitter poll out, and I'd say, what would you say, like 60% of people like didn't even get pre-order through.
Yeah, I pulled that up here. I've got two interesting ones. So one we put up this morning, and it says, were you able to get your hands on a PS5 pre-order? And the four options are not interested / other, no, seems impossible, not yet, I'm hopeful, and yes, locked mine in. 29% of people were able to lock theirs in.
We're at 147 votes. Worth noting.
Yes, 147 votes. 29% were able to lock theirs in. Okay. 18% of them said not yet, but I'm hopeful. A staggering 49% of people on this poll said no, seems impossible. They were not able to get one.
So if you combine the 49 and the 18, like that's like almost 70% of the poll of people.
Yeah, that's the majority.
We're not able to get it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I've seen a lot of other polls pop up as well through other sites and stuff that are just reporting very similar data, saying that it's either the website was having issues or their cart timed out, or this or that, whatever the situation may be, and it's going to leave a lot of people pissed off. Not being able to get this. Sony swears that they're going to have a huge allocation available day one for people, but obviously I don't necessarily have good faith in that. at this time. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind 24 hours, man, trying to keep up with this stuff. And Sony just really shot themselves in the foot here with this thing. Um, it's crazy. My local GameStop, so not the one that I work at, but the one that I'm local to, they had 60 people standing outside this morning, ready to pre-order. They sold all their pre-orders last night. And so
Yeah.
they had to go out and tell all these people, we don't have anything for you. I'm sorry. Like there's nothing available at this point.
Yeah, it's hectic. And you have to imagine that Xbox is gonna be limited in stock as well.
Sure.
So
At least they're
definitely,
handling it in a much better way, though. Like they got out immediately after this, and they were like, "We're going to be straight up with you," and kind of like tongue in cheek, jabbed at Sony on this stuff, which I totally respect. But yeah, they really like. I hope that they learned a valuable lesson from watching this, and they handle it in a better way, because boy did Sony really fuck this one up altogether, and pissed a
yeah.
lot of people off. You know.
Yeah, we'll see, because I was thinking about it, and like if I do get a PS5, I think I might get I don't know. I'm still so on the fence.
Good luck
So
finding it.
we'll see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? Like my only option would be to like wait outside of a store the day it comes out and hope that
Yeah.
they have one. I don't know. Which chances are I feel like most stores will probably have them like on launch day, at least a few, but
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Um yeah, I guess with that, let's just move on and talk about the Nintendo Direct Mini to end the show, because we're running kind of long here.
Yeah. We'll just kind of rapid fire through this. Is It really wasn't that crazy of an event anyway. This recap comes from IGN. Adam Bankhurst wrote this up. We got two new Monster Hunter games. One is Monster Hunter Rise, releasing on the Switch on March 26, 2021. It's got a fun grappling hook system, which looks pretty cool. And it features a large, seamless map that you can explore, with a new dog-like companion slash mount called a Palamute. So, some cool stuff there. It's been a while since we've had a Monster Hunter handheld release, aside from Generations on the Switch. So, this game seems to be a little bit more ambitious than Generations was, but not quite as ambitious as World. A lot of cool stuff there. The second one is Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin. So that's a sequel to Monster Hunter Stories. It's a little bit more, a little bit less serious than the other Monster Hunter titles. A little bit funner, I suppose. And that released is summer 2021. So that one's not terribly far off. In surprise drops, they announced that Ori and the Will of the Wisps, so the Xbox exclusive, is coming to Nintendo Switch same day. And there is a collector's edition available as well that has a stained glass piece, both Ori games, and a glow in the dark display box, and a bunch of other cool stuff too. So I know John is real hot on Ori, and if I didn't mention that, he'd probably have some issues with me.
For
But
sure.
yeah, it's a very pretty game. They said that they got it running phenomenally well on the Switch, and it's just another 2D platformer, which is great for Switch. In a surprise that nobody saw coming, there is a sequel to the breakout not star of 2019 or 2018, whenever it released, Fitness Boxing 2. So they released a game called Fitness Boxing on Switch a little while ago that was incredibly hard to find, and I didn't even think was very popular, to be honest. And it's getting
Yeah,
a sequel.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah. I've seen like one copy in my life, and yeah, it's weird. So if you're into that, that launches on December 4th, 2020. So be on the lookout for that. Disgaea 6: Defiance of Destiny is coming to the Nintendo Switch exclusively in summer 2021. So Switch locking down some of those exclusives. One of the cool things with this is that Disgaea 5 Complete will be available to try in a special game trial event for Nintendo Switch Online members from September 23rd to 29th. So if you are interested in the Disgaea games, or think you might be, then give that a shot. Rest of these are pretty small stuff, so we'll just fling through these real quick as those were most of the big announcements. Balan Wonderland, which is from the one of the original co-creators of Sonic, is coming to Switch next year, finally confirmed. Rune Factory 5 is going to release on Switch in 2021. They announced that at a direct quite a few months ago. People have been waiting on some more information for that. Very Harvest Moon-like gameplay if you're into that stuff. The Long Dark, kind of a walking simulator that's been out on PC and other consoles for a while, making its way to Switch. It is out today. Hades comes out on Switch today. That's kind of that pinball arcade brawler. Empire of Sin, new strategy game coming to Switch this December. Sniper Elite 4 announced for Switch coming holiday 2020. And that wraps it up. That's all the stuff that dropped with that mini direct here on the 18th? Yeah, September 18th.
17th.
So 17th. Yes, 18th tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that Nintendo's been doing a great job at keeping expectations low when they should be for these events. That way people aren't wildly thinking they're going to get the next Breath of the Wild or Metroid or something like that.
I'm glad they split them into two as well. Like it's not just a direct anymore; it's a mini partner direct. Like they're really locking in on those expectations and making sure that people are kind of aware. I mean, people are going to be pissed either way. To be honest, like everybody is around the direct stuff, but for the most part, they have done a really good job of that.
Yeah, I think with that we'll wrap up the show. This has been episode 112 of the Pixel Street Podcast. As always, go follow us on Twitter by searching @Pixel Street there. Check out our YouTube by searching for Pixel Street Vids. We have some Let's Plays up from us playing Among Us last week with some of the listeners and viewers. It was a lot of fun, and the Respawn Aim Fire guys as well. Check out our Facebook, search Pixel Street Podcast there. You can find our show every Friday morning at 8 a.m. That's about it. Follow me on Twitter at Campo63, twitch.tv/Campo63. Connor, where are you on them interwebs?
You can find me at The Real Birch. That's Birch like the tree without the I, so BRCH, on Twitter and Twitch. Come hang out. We'd love to hear from you. Love to have you as part of our PAL party nights that we've been having. Like Joel said, they've been an absolute blast anytime we've thrown them down. And I would also love to hear if you have any PlayStation horror stories, any kind of pre-order horror story of your own, sitting in a cart for forever, or a website not working on you, whatever it is. We want to know. Consider us Johnny on the spot with our news reporting. So, yeah.
All right, yeah, we'll be right back here next week for episode 113. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.